Hello and welcome to today's weekly Energy Shot podcast. We are Matt Taylor and my name is Nicole Ercolani, and we have decided to produce this podcast in order for you to link to the higher realms with some astrological updates from Matt and some energy shots, some wisdom, some coaching tools from the both of us to give you like a little guidance on your next week here on planet Earth. Hi Matt, how are you this week?
Hi everybody, it's good to be back. We missed a week.
Yeah, we did.
It's very uncomfortable for us to miss the week, isn't it? It's like we do it every week and it's like, oh, but well, you've got to do that sometimes, have a little break. You all right?
Yeah. I'm good again. We
Good.
missed the week because of me. I had corona and I really I couldn't speak properly. So Matt was like, no, Nicole, we're not doing that.
Well, actually, Nicole turned up to do it.
So we're not doing it.
Yeah.
And now I'm back. I might have some frogs in my throat, but apart from that, we're good to go.
Yeah, we're good. Well, what I thought we'd talk about this week is karmic triggers. Karmic triggers are always kind of interesting. I mean, there's most of the chart kabbalistically or karmically is free will, so you do what you want to do, but there's been certain things laid down. However, there are maybe 7, 8, 9 points in a personal astrology chart that determine that this is non-free will. This is work that you will have to go through sets of circumstances. So I thought I would do like maybe a few of the world's karmic triggers, that the key points, just to sort of say what is it that we're all going through that we must go through, for this year, and just give that a bit of focus. We've also got a new moon of Pisces coming up, and this is when the Kabbalistic calendar and the Western calendars come back together, so no one's confused anymore what I'm talking about. So we are having a new moon of Pisces through this week as well. Pisces, just before I do the karmic triggers, Pisces is a particular month about softer energies. It's the Pisces is the final sign of the chart, so we know that we're coming to the highest spiritual point of the chart, because it's the end, so we reach a transcendence. It's the story within the chart, and so it's very much about transcendence. It's ruled by Jupiter, and it's also ruled by Neptune. Neptune is a very transcendent planet. It's transcendent love, transcendent compassion, which is different to body love, body compassion. It's ruled by another planet, but this is really the big spiritual sign. And then Jupiter is about expansion, growth, abundance, where miracles, where things come easy. So we are in the final month. Now, Kabbalistically, every 2 or 3 years, to fit in with the organic cycles of the moon, which are 29 degrees, just over. And if you have 12 signs and it's a universe, you have 12 signs divided by 360 of the circle is 30. So this is why Kabbalistically it works better, because, well, the moon is 1 degree less. So at some point we've got to do two signs, right? A bit mathematical there, but you can see that 29, we lose a degree, which is a day in the chart. And so how the Kabbalists explain is that every 2 or 3 years we actually have 2 cycles of Pisces. So the moon goes through Pisces twice in order to rectify itself so that it continues to do one thing. So when you understand better the organic cycles of the moon and you fit it into the chart, you understand why we have a repeat sign. So why does it repeat in Pisces and not in, I don't know, something else that are all very lovely, very nice, right? So, well, we know that Pisces is a feminine sign, and we know that Pisces is the spiritual sign. So we conclude the year with a high level feminine spiritual energy, which gives us the chance to manifest. So people often associate manifest and masculine, all in the New Age. You've got it all, it's not really like that, because vessels is how you manifest, and vessels are feminine. So when you understand the energetics better, you understand that in the coding of the universe, the masculine is the light, but it's not actually masculine. It's just how we speak about it in the old language. Of course, the New Age, with all the political wokeness, they whatever they want to do with it, they're going to do with it. So let's come out of that for a minute. So light is masculine and vessels is feminine, but they're not actually masculine and feminine. It's just the way they were spoken about in the old charts. Like they would talk in the old text, like they would talk about the queen, the king, and the marriage and the bindings, and and they would talk about how the man and the female will come together, and but really they're just talking about the light in the vessel. It's a decode, you see. And so what's happened in New Age spirituality and in religion is they take all of this and they make it very literal without understanding the deeper significance underneath. So here we're in a big month where the light and the vessel are really able to come together and manifest. And that's what Pisces is about. And that's why it's a sign of abundance and transcendence and spirituality, because we're only going to manifest to the degree in which we've transformed throughout the year. So that is a big effort we can do. We can really push ourselves into manifesting particularly this year, because we just had a cycle of Pisces. We're having the second cycle of Pisces, and then we'll begin the new year after this. So let's look at the karmic triggers. So the first karmic trigger that we have is the South Node Scorpio and the North Node Taurus. This is called like an axis, because these South Node, North Node spin around the chart every 18 months. They move sign. And so since January, we've had this axis. This axis primarily is about letting go. Taurus is the sign where we tend to hold on physically, and Scorpio is the sign where we tend to hold on emotionally or traumatically or psychologically, right? So Scorpio is the depth to the Taurus superficiality, but also Taurus is the peace to the Scorpio battle. Taurus is ruled by Venus, which is, very much about peace and harmony and mediating and keeping things calm. And, they're very good like this, right? And Scorpio is very much about the Mars energy, which is about my assertion, my will, but also where I go to battle, where I go to war, where I have a crisis, right? So here we will see that the South Node represents the old karmic wounds that we're dealing with. So we're really dealing with a lot of Scorpio karmic wounds as a collective in the world, right? These could be personal, they could be national, they could be family, they could be international, whatever. Now, the thing about Scorpio, the work, we're just going to focus on their challenge, not the good things about them, because it's a South Node. So the South Node bringing up old wounds that are relating to psychological trauma, sexual trauma, in-deep trauma, crises, battles, where I think people are attacking me, or if they are attacking me, and sort of the things to do with jealousy and very extreme power control issues. So Scorpio is the psychotic part of the chart in the negative sense. It's ruled by Scorpio, which we know it's an animal that kills itself when it's severely under threat, and it's blind. So it really feels like it's really on high alert all the time. A lot of the work for a Scorpio, if they're born in that, is to come out of crisis mode, to come out of the extremities of I'm so happy and then so sad. And so, yes, it's a very tense energy. When you're with a Scorpio, you're on high alert, So this is the work that's going to come up round till about halfway through 2023, right? So we're, still a long way to go with it. But on a personal level and all of that, we need to go through, because we need to take out the crises inside of us, right? We need to take out that high alert fear factor that Scorpios can go through. So we're going to see in the world power issues, control issues, attack issues, psychological things, things where we are, with the fears and all of that. So that's the world, that's work we're going to do. Now, what Taurus does is, because it's Venus, it brings out more healing energy, because the Venus is a planet responsible for peace and calm and healing and balance, right? So this is the work that will come up, and this is the work that will heal and move towards. But in order to us to heal, we know we've got to see what's to be healed first. So, that's one of the karmic triggers.
I think that makes very much sense, especially when you're looking at the last 2 years. when we were where we were coming from with the North Node in Gemini, right?
Very good. That's right. Well
Yeah.
done.
And the South Node in, I don't
In
know,
Sag. In Sag.
Aries, yes. And I could, like, for me, the teaching part of the Gemini North Node was really like severe, because I am a very physical, like my teacher is my physical body. I was like, my body taught me everything that I know so far. The whole reason why I had to get to that knowledge was my body. So I learned about over the physical body, how to be spiritual and how to maneuver my energy within planet Earth. And so, but the Gemini part that were the past 18 months was very mental.
Oh, very mental. All
Very.
beliefs and
And
perspectives and views and
there are many
the
people,
multi-dimensional
yes,
headspace that we're all
and
in.
there are
Yes.
many people that the teacher is their mind
Mm.
or their emotions. Like, that's the other part. And I find it really interesting, because for me, it was the past 18 months teachings were like very like, oh, okay, there is another concept and another modality and another method and another mental construct that people are like using. I learned a lot, but now, like with the North Node in Taurus, and I am a Taurus myself, um, I can feel that there are many people that are now taught over the physical body certain things, like how to maneuver energy in the physical vessel. That's like the teachings that are now available for the masses. And for me, it's like, this is the easiest. It's like, I'm like a fish in the water now. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, I know how to maneuver that one. That's my my in-depth knowledge. Like, is to like, what's the game plan of human existence in a 3D body? Like, how does that work? Like, why is the cells holding so much information? How can you read that, what's stored in your cells from your ancestors, from your soul? How can you read your own memories? How can you transform them? How can you be not triggered anymore? And that's all a physical concept. And I think when you look at the world's stage right now, this is what people have to learn. Like, you have to learn right now, what does my body want to tell me? And how can I start to communicate with my physical body? Because you are not your physical body. Your physical body is your vessel to maneuver your soul around planet Earth. And so but you have to learn to have a relationship. Most of the people I know, and like a lot, even also a lot of healers, a lot of therapists, a lot of coaches, have no relationship to their physical body whatsoever. They're not relaying properly. And the body is communicating with resonances with you, but people don't understand that, like a lot of people. And this is the big mass awakening of, oh, there must be a relationship between me and my physical body. And I must start to understand what's going on there. I must understand the dark the dark pieces, the dark memories, the all that is like triggering. And yeah, so I think it will be a
Well,
very
that's it. It's the dark. It's the dark. Scorpio is the dark, and
the
it's the
dark, yeah.
Mars, and it's also ruled by Pluto. And Pluto is a very deep, intense energy that goes in deep and detoxes out,
Yeah.
right? And it brings, so you were really bringing things up from a very deep level. As you said, the Gemini Sag axis that we just went through is much more in the belief system and the mind system, right? This is much more in what we're holding system, right? Interestingly, Buddhism, when it was, I think when it first came out, was on a Taurus Scorpio
Oh,
axis, because it's so much about not holding and letting go and
yes, yes.
releasing and observe, we'll see what's coming out. So, we're very, very much going to be very much about detach and just don't react, we're going to be what the Kabbalists call a proactive serenity, which I think is beautiful. Proactive serenity. So it doesn't mean like be serene as in just let anything happen to you and be a victim. Proactive serenity means whatever you're going through, just have a sense of detachment and calm about it. You still need to go through your challenges. So I really love this phrase. So it's going to be a big theme. Oh, sorry, I just hit my elbow. I'm fine, but maybe the listeners just got a bang in the ear. Yes. So let's go now, because this is interesting. Let's go to Pluto, because Pluto is a karmic trigger, and it's in Capricorn. Capricorn is about old systems. Things we do traditionally, things we do routinely, things we do that are systematic and hierarchical, right? So if you think about anywhere in our society or in your life that is hierarchical, so you've got big corporations, big governments, big administrations, right? These big sort of climb the ladder stuff, and then you've accountancy firms, all the big things, and then you've got also in our own lives we have this kind of what are we repeating? What are the old embedded systems that we have? So Pluto is the detoxifier. It goes in and shows you the rubbish inside of it, and it brings out all the garbage. This is why since 2008, when Pluto went into Capricorn, we've seen so much garbage in our government systems, in our financing, banking systems, all of this accounting system, all of this added up administrative hierarchical paper stuff, very Capricorn. Capricorn also sort of rules the traditions. So it's, things that we have always done or just expect to be there aren't, been a lot of darkness has been coming out. But it isn't that these things are dark. It's just that they need to be taken to a new reality. It's like in order to go on, we need to cleanse out, right? So this is what Pluto does, is that it needs to like take out all of the gunk in order to clean it. And we do this with a wardrobe, we do it with our shelves, we do it with the fridge, we do it, right? It's the same system. We pull everything out, we clean it out, we put it back in, and everything feels fresh and new. This is what Pluto does, both because it's Capricorn, it's slightly more external things, where those systems are, but we can also, feel what are we holding onto that's got to be let go, because it's just that old embedded systems that we need to let go of, we need to refresh. So you can see here that the Scorpio and the Pluto sort of combination are really bringing up stuff deeper now for us to really cleanse old things. I mean, if we sort of start to see these old embedded structures like oligarchs and royalties and governments and banks and finance systems and accountancy systems and tax havens, and you know how it all goes, right? So that sort of stuff is on shaky ground, right? We're going to see a lot of that. And we have since 2008. We've seen the Panama Papers. We've seen the more recent papers. I can't remember their name, but we're seeing, and there's big investigations into these kind of things now that is much more transparent. We will see even more over the next couple of years. And while Pluto is still in Capricorn, and as I've said 5,000 times, Pluto is on the Pluto of Capricorn in the US this year. So we will see all of the old stuff that from the United States being cleansed out, right? We're seeing a lot of their weaknesses, more evidently. So let's go from there. Do you want to speak to that?
I could. I think this whole Pluto storyline, let's keep it that way.
Yeah.
This whole Pluto storyline, what it really amplifies is the ability to see hidden agendas.
Right. That's a great one.
Yeah. This is what it does for me. Like there was a time,
you can't hide it anymore.
Well, it's still kind of hidden.
It's trying to be hidden, but it's trying to be hidden.
But there is, for the first time ever, I think, there is the possibility that we really could see the truth. we could see the hidden agendas behind certain storylines that are projected in media, in societies, in corporations, like whatever, like, do you name the level? But it's for the first time possible to see the hidden agendas, because the transparency of the internet and the transparency of, like, also those whistleblower pages, those whistleblowers that were like, Julian Assange is still held captive in London in the embassy. Like, this is like since like 2008.
Yes, there's a lot of things in 2008
so,
when Pluto went into Capricorn. There was the financial crisis. There was the all of the release of all of these papers. There was a lot of those emails, or all sorts of things. All of the wars that went through North Africa and the Middle East. All of that. I mean, if you think about it, what's been happening, and the Facebook stuff just recently, and the tax havens, it's really moving a lot of stuff when we just see it over a long period of time, so we can't piece it all together. But there's a lot.
But now you could, like, if someone would wanted to, like, also, like, we have this one historian here in Switzerland. His name is Daniele Ganser, and he's like professor for history, and he is analyzing all the wars in the past 70 years, all the illegal wars that were fought from the United States. And there are many books, there are many, like, there are proofs of, like, university proof, like scientific proof of what was going on, what was the storyline that was told in the media, and then what was the real story behind it. And like, today, if you would want to see the truth, or at least, let's not say the truth, I think it's a big word, but at least the hidden agendas of countries, like the hidden agenda of the NATO, the hidden agenda of the United States, the hidden agenda of Germany and France, the hidden agenda of also Russia, the hidden agenda of Syria. Like, now it's possible since 2008, because we have the internet, and because there is the possibility of YouTube and of Instagram and Facebook and all those lives also. 20 years ago, that was not possible. Like, streaming out of a war zone 20 years ago was not possible. But today, when you're looking in social media, you can see what's going on. Like, there is a new possibility of clarity, and that's what Pluto does for me.
Well, I think there's a lot of
the veil is lifted.
Lifting, exactly. Yes, it's very that. Very good. So we have a lot of that. We go now to, we've got two more to do in these karmic triggers for the world that are really important. There's work that we must do, right? So the other one is Saturn. Saturn is the Lord of Karma, right? And Saturn is like the hard lessons. Unfortunately, we have to do the hard lessons. Right? So it's very important to understand these things. So the North Node, South Node is like transforming old to new, and Pluto is about detoxing, and Saturn is about where we got hard lessons. So you really get a message here about, we really come to transform and grow and shift. Right? This is the whole point of this universe. So just sort of those people that sometimes say, I'm got no spiritual work to do with, I think you parked in the wrong space, Yeah. You're here. Well, you're doing work. I think you're not dealing with reality. That's what I think is really going on. Anyway, so we're all doing work here, and Saturn is controlling the work, right? It's saying, these are the hard lessons. So I like to think of Saturn as kind of like, it gives you a field, and often we, with like a boundary around it, and you play in this field. And if you keep like going out of that field, it knocks you back in. And generally go out of the field in reactive behaviors, right? Or I'm shy, too much, or I'm not communicating too much, or I have fears around something too much, or I never really speak up about this, or I never really go and do what I say I'm going to do, and I never really, I have a lot of doubts in myself, and I'm always a bit jealous of everybody else, and all of this stuff where we keep going, outside of the boundary. Saturn is a very boundaried planet, so you get a bit to play. But if you are excessive, it's going to give us the accountability to
Yeah.
push us back in,
I
right?
was just writing that down.
Yes. And it rules Capricorn. So we got like this Saturn, Pluto, Capricorn energies, you know, are really strong at the moment because, you know, they're all sort of really powered up. So we're going to go through some hard lessons for the next, you know, a year and a half to the end of next year. So it's not that you need to worry about it. They're just karmic things that are helping us grow. Like the pressure is getting to be more. Yeah. Okay, so and also Saturn rules Aquarius, which is where it is right now, and Aquarius rules the collective.
Yeah.
So now what we're calling in is that everything that is kind of karmic that is happening in the collective since 2020 through to 2023. So, and most of the big things that have happened have been on a humanitarian level, right? So the weather crisis, I don't call it environmental crisis, I call it a weather crisis, and all of the sort of like the ups and downs of earthquakes and hurricanes and sudden rains. And I mean, we just had another one last week where, you know, the rains just went through Germany and UK like boom, like this, right? Then we've got like the virus, and then we've got this, you know, this battle that's going on. It's involving everybody around the world, right? Everybody's now involved in it. And it's just that we're going through things on a collective level, right, that are bringing up some of the other things we've already talked about. Saturn rules the fears, right? It really pushes up the fears. It's the fear one. It'll show you in the chart where you have Saturn is where your fears are, right? And so we get, but more with the world, it's with the Aquarius, it's humanitarian, it's a collective, it's groups. It's also space, as in outer space. So we're going to go through something with people throwing things up in the, like, you know, Elon Musk is putting satellites up there, rockets up there, cars up there, you know, so we're going to have a lot of that. Everything's up there now. We've got the Bitcoin thing where everything is now up there, the metaverse thing where things are up there. And this is Saturn pushing us all into this kind of spacey stuff, right? So this, and also, so there's three things really with Saturn in Aquarius. It's the collective, it's the cosmic and space, and then it's our own individuality and quirks and things that are out of the box and really weird, right? So that is the other thing that Saturn is popping up. Really weird people, really out of the box people, you know, like Elon Musk, like Greta Thunberg, like Facebook guy, right? You look at these people and they think
all those autistic
all a bit odd. Yeah, they're all a bit all odd. It's interesting that in Kabbalistically, these voices of disruption are usually with people that are a little bit out of the mainstream because they have to be to resonate a difference. So we're going to see more of them, right? You think, oh, it's something not there, right? But they are so successful, right? In the frequency of them is just obliterating things out of the mainstream that are really odd. So we will see that, and we'll bring up our odd stuff and our quirks and our you know weirdo things. So that is Saturn. So these whole sort of Scorpio, Pluto, it's old and different and weird and not what it was, and it's, you know, there's no stability, and now it's really odd. Just can't explain it. It's so illogical. All of that, it's very palpable, no?
Yeah, I think what's really interesting in Kundalini Yoga, we do since 2019, we're doing a meditation that is called intelligence meditation. And we, in Kundalini Yoga, we have the Jupiter finger, which is your index finger, and then the middle finger is the Saturn finger. And what we're doing is you're sitting in meditation and you're going out of your body into the space, and you're putting Jupiter and Saturn together and then apart. And what that does is it allows your brain to have another type of brain wave in your physical body, another type of intelligence to analyze things that are now from here to you, like from you to the world, but also be able to analyze you in the world, and then analyze you in the world out of the world. And this type of intelligence is really important nowadays because what's still there in the collective is the projection of truth is very simplistic. That means, what I mean by that is, it all at the moment it looks like when you're hearing certain things in the media about anything, there is one very specific trajectory, a vibration in the media for a certain topic. Let's say let's say this war that is currently going on between Russia and Ukraine. Like the main projection is Ukraine are the good ones, the Russian are the bad ones. That's what the media is projecting, right? And what Saturn is asking us, this Aquarian age is asking us to do, is to have different possibilities to see other truths.
Yes,
In the
that's
same
right.
truth.
That's right. It's not, we don't know really what's good or bad. I mean,
Exactly.
and then you may listen to this and say, oh yes, it's very clear, right? Okay, well, let's take it down to your own life and say, when have you had something that you thought was good that was not good, it turned out actually bad? And when have you had something in your life that was bad and actually turned out quite well? It was the best thing for you. Hey, everyone's got that.
Yeah.
But in the time you're in it, you only see that is good and that is bad.
Exactly.
And that's and principally what I like about this chat is that science has also backed this up, is that all the brain does, this is all it does, is it boxes things into this is good for me and this is bad for me.
Yes.
And it only decides that on what we decide is good and bad, and we don't know what's good and bad based on our history of our life, right? So we are separated into a good and bad reality, right? We are separated out.
It's very dualistic what we're seeing here. Like there is always one or the other side. And what I think is really important at the moment for everyone, like that considers themselves at least to be part of this new Aquarian age and wants to, like, also patriarchy, matriarchy, also constructive, destructive realities. Like, let's be very clear that the truth that is out there somewhere has many different angles to it. And true intelligence and true Aquarianism means that you are able to see what's projected into the masses, into the collective, what's feeding the collective fear, because Saturn is fear. Like, what is feeding the collective fear, and why is the collective fear fed by that? And then see what's the other angle of that truth, like, and where do I hold fear within my own physical body? And then we're back at North Node in Taurus, South Node in Scorpio. You have to understand your own physical body when you're holding resonance for, like, in a war like that is happening right now in Europe. If your physical body is still holding trauma from your ancestors about the Second World War, for example, or if you're coming from another country that was fighting war, like we in Switzerland, we have a lot of people from the Balkan. They are all triggered right now. Like, we have millions of Syrian refugees, of Afghani refugees here in Europe, millions. They are all triggered right now because they know, oh, another war. Okay, it's moving on, it's going on. And so the trigger is held in your physical body. So when you are, like, watching now movies or you're looking at the media and you feel fear within your physical body, that means that your body is holding the vibration of past trauma. And that doesn't have to be yours. It can be from a soul level, but it can also very well be your ancestor trauma. Like, it's not a surprise for you that you have the same nose as your grandfather, but it's surprising you that you're still holding the same trauma. Like, it must start to be logical and normal that ancestor trauma is pushed forward as well. And that means that if you are fearful now, that means you're holding trauma from your ancestor, and you need to transform that trauma in order to be able to see the other truth in what's going on at the moment.
Right. And I'll quickly come to the fourth point, which is Chiron in Aries.
Yeah.
Chiron is a little object. I forget if it's not an asteroid. It's I forget the technical name of it, but it's a little bit past Saturn and in between Saturn and Uranus, out there floating around. And no one probably knows about it, but it's a non-free will thing. It's something that we must do when we come here. So wherever Chiron is in your chart, it's a wound. And it means, and Chiron is the wounded healer. So again, it's about transformation, healing, growing, expanding. When we come here, the only way we do that is through pressure. That's how we find out where we need to transform internally in order to manage our reality better, right? So, so here Chiron is in Aries. Usually Chiron takes about 4 years to go through a sign. It's very odd because whenever it's in Aries, it's like 12. So why is this kind of phenomenon in this is sort of the way that Chiron goes around the sun it's not quite circular, it's more elliptical, and when it gets to Aries it really takes a long time, like 2 to 3 times as long. Yeah. It's very odd, right? But that's obviously where we need it the most. Aries is about us. It's about the existential question, who I am, right? And so really we're doing this great big 8 years. We started in 2018, 2019. It's going to go through to 2030 or so, 2029. I haven't really worked out the date, but it'll be about then. And we're going to be doing this huge work on who we are as individuals, who we are, right? It's the karmic wounds that are held in us individually, and deciding the existential question, who am I? Who do I want to be? All of this push, and I have to heal all the wounds on that. Now, if that isn't big enough piece, right? Think about all the people who have doubts in them. Well, it's everything. It's really, isn't it? It also, because it's ruled by Mars, it rules over battles and wars and bloods and all of that. So we're going to go through a lot of like crises points, battle points through this decade, either in our own lives or maybe, why Saturn is in Aquarius more collectively, but definitely in different ways. We will go through a lot of transformation on our sovereignty that we have over ourselves, our individuality, how healthy we are inside of us, how healed we are with ourselves. Like, this is proliferating spiritual work and deep work, and really to like bringing up all the wounds of this self. So Aries kind of rules the I am, who I am, right? So we're karmically healing on all of those wounds that we've had, lifetime after lifetime, big work, right? So this year in terms of karmic triggers is 1, old systems, 2, deep traumas, 3, collective issues, and 4, who am I? Yeah. So it's very evident. I think those things are very evident in the world right now.
Yeah, I fully agree. I'm having a deep relationship with my own Chiron, because I worked on my own Chiron for like the first 30 years of my life to be here at all. So my Chiron and we have a good relationship. And what's really fascinating for me is Chiron is deeply connected with the Hestia temples in Greece. And the Hestias were the goddesses of fire. Like they were, the Hestias were like, it was kind of a nunnery.
Yes.
Where those women were in the matriarchy teaching men how to serve the female in a physical sense. And so what's really interesting for me that the I am question, like we all have this inner female part, which is serving, like, which is teaching our inner masculine what it needs to, in order to thrive, in order to like really be nurturing then for the environment. And but that's for me this whole Chiron story is like, the Chiron is like looking for the Hestia temple women, and he's like maneuvering himself out there in the heavens for the female collective nurturing energy. That's like my approach on Chiron. And yeah, so I have lived many incarnations as in the Hestia temples. So I have those insights that I got from those incarnations when I was in meditation were really, really deep. And I think for me, what it means is like, wherever you have your Chiron, ask yourself, how can I be, what can my inner female, my inner nurturer teach the structure that I need in this part of my chart in order to thrive? That's where that's the question that I asked myself.
Very good.
It's very
all right then.
That's
me.
Thank you everyone for listening, and I hope you're back next week. That for me was a very beautiful talk. I love those big when you're bringing us to those bigger topics. I love that. I think that's so helpful.
It's fun, no?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone
it's good to
for
see
listening, and have a great week.
Bye everyone.